Jewish festival of Tu B'Shvat today. As you can see, I'm holding some figs, te'ena, as we call a fig in English, naturally in Hebrew. And we're going to concentrate on some of the customs of Tu B'Shvat, the 15th of Shvat. Very much we celebrate, we enjoy. It's family time, it's personal time in of itself. Let's explore some of the history of Tu B'Shvat, some of the importance, let's just say, within regards to the Torah in of itself, and some of the Sephardic customs over here. As we are a community here, we are learning about all the different Torah subjects in of itself. So Tu B'Shvat, what does it stand for? The 15th of Shvat, naturally. Obviously, it's a very joyous Jewish festival, which is obviously on the 15th of the Hebrew month of Shvat. It's also called the Rosh Hashanah shel Ilanot. Ilanot naturally is a new years of trees. Trees is Ilanot, and it's celebrated on this specific day all over the Israel, all over the world in of itself. The name Tu B'Shvat is originally from the Hebrew day, as we've said before. Tu, what does it stand for? It's the Hebrew letters a tet and a vav, which has a numerical of 9 and 6 respectively, which equals 15. So the date is called Chamisha Asar B'Shvat, also the 15th of Shvat, naturally. Now, where does it appear in the Gemara, the festival of Tu B'Shvat? It appears in the Mishnah, in the Masechet Rosh Hashanah, as one of the 4 new years in the Jewish calendar. There's a discussion of when the new year occurs. It's obviously a robust debate among the great rabbis. So the first of Nisan is a new year of kings and festivals. The first of Elul is a new year for the tithe of cattle. So the Tanaim, Elazar ben Shamua and Rav Shimon bar Yochai, however, place this on the first of Tishrei, this specific date, respectively. And then the first of Tishrei is a new year of years in of itself for release years, sabbatical years, Jubilees. How do we count the Jubilee year? The planting for the tithe of vegetables. And then the first of Shvat, according to Mishnah, is a new year for trees, according to Bet Shammai, the house of Shammai. However, Bet Hillel, the school of Hillel, let's just say, will hold its 15th of Shvat. And that's very much how we will explain that it is. So we rule in favor, like the house of Hillel, the Bet Hillel in of itself. And the 15th of Shvat became the date for calculating the beginning of agricultural cycle for the purpose of biblical tithes. Okay. What are the different kinds of biblical tithes? That's the first thing we can speak about. So, Orlah, this refers to a biblical prohibition on eating the fruit of trees produced during the first 3 years after they are planted, naturally. Then there's something called the Netah Reva'i. If any of you watch my Daf Yomi videos, you would, we've spoken about this on various occasions. It refers to the Torah, a command featured, I believe, in Parshat Kedoshim, in chapter 19, verse 24, to bring 4th year fruit crops to Yerushalayim, to Jerusalem, as a tithe. Then the second tithe, Maaseh Sheni, was a tithe which was collected in Jerusalem, and there was a poor tithe in of itself, the Maaseh Oni, which naturally we learn about in Sefer Dvarim, I believe in Parshat Re'eh, if I'm not mistaken, chapter number 14, which were calculated by whether the fruit ripened before or after Tu B'Shvat, the 15th of Shvat. So naturally, the 15th of Shvat is very much a benchmark of when we take these dates. Of the, let's say, the Gemara, or the Talmudic requirements for fruit trees, which use Tu B'Shvat as a cutoff date in the Hebrew calendar for calculating the age of a fruit-bearing tree, the Orla remains to this day is, let's just say, essentially, importantly, the same form it had in the times of the Gemara. Obviously, naturally, as Orthodox Jewish people, we observe today as part of halacha, as part of Jewish law, that fruit that ripened on a 3-year-old tree before Tu B'Shvat is considered orla and is forbidden at this stage to eat, while fruit ripening on or after Tu B'Shvat of the tree's 3rd year is allowed. So naturally, in the 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th years of the Shemitah cycle, the second tithe is observed today by, let's say there's a ceremony, we'll say it in English, redeeming tithing obligations with a coin, a matbeya, as we say. And in the 3rd and 6th year, the poor tithe is substituted, and no coin over here is needed for redeeming it. Tu B'Shvat, let's just say, is a cutoff date for determining to which year the tithes belong. Okay. So it's interesting. So Tu B'Shvat naturally will fall on the 15th day and of the Hebrew month of Shvat, and begins. It's a 3-month series, let's just say, of the 15th, because we know naturally there's a holiday every single year. 15th of Adar will be Purim in Shushan Purim in of itself. 15th of Nisan is going to mark Pesach. So every year of 15th, naturally, main Purim is on 14th of Adar, respectively. There's traditional customs all over the place, and we're going to explore the main traditional and modern customs, and then look at a few of the Sephardic customs over here. So we know that in the Middle Ages, the Tu B'Shvat was celebrated with a feast of fruits in keeping with the Mishnaic description of the holiday as a new year. In the 16th century, there was a great rabbi, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria Ashkenazi of famous Tzfat. He was one of the famous rabbis over there. The Talmidim, the students, did a Tu B'Shvat Seder in which the fruits and trees of the land of Israel, especially the Shivat HaMinim, the 7 species, were given symbolic meaning. Actually, we know that the main idea was that eating 10 specific fruits and drinking 4 cups of wine in a specific order while reciting the appropriate blessings will bring human beings and the world closer to spiritual perfection. In Israel, the Kabbalistic Tu B'Shvat Seder has been, let's just say, much more revival to it and celebrated even among the secular nowadays. And there's even special Haggadot have been written for this purpose. I believe in many Hasidic communities, some Jewish people will pickle candy like etrog, the citron, from the festival of Sukkot and eat it on Tu B'Shvat. Some will pray that they'll be worthy of a fabulous etrog the following Sukkot. We know we're going to touch upon the Sephardic Eidut Mizrach Jewish community. There's a special dessert some Sephardic communities make of grains, dried fruits, and nuts, known as ashure or chijo koko, to celebrate the holiday. There's another custom involves drinking both red and white wines to symbolize the transition from winter to spring, because that very much, I think, at that time. And there's more modern let's just say practices. Let's explore in general. I think there was Rabbi Zib Yavetz, who was, let's say, one of the Mizrahi religious he was part of the Mizrahi religious Zionistic movement. I think he was, I believe in the year 1890, he would take his Talmidim to plant trees in agricultural town of Zichron Yaakov. And this, I think, was established in the year 1908 by the Jewish Teachers Union and later by the JNF, the Jewish National Fund, which has to be pointed out. They say that there's over a million Israelis take part in the JNF, Jewish National Fund's Tu B'Shvat tree planting activities, which I believe there is. Obviously, I think in North America, in Tu B'Shvat, became treated as a Jewish Earth Day. That should be pointed out also. And I think the cornerstone laying of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem took place on Tu B'Shvat in the year 1918, and the Technion in Haifa on Tu B'Shvat in 1925, 100 years ago, and the Knesset on Tu B'Shvat in the year 1949. So we're talking about 76 years ago. Now let's explore a few of the, let's just say, Sephardi minhagim within regards to Tu B'Shvat, because me being a Sephardi myself, I would like to know also, because we've stated before, it was known as, by some people, as the Arbor Day in contemporary Israel. And we know that the first tree to bloom in Israel is the almond tree. It is said that the almond tree will be the first tree that Mashiach will see when he rides his donkey into Jerusalem. Hence, there's a prominence of almonds on this day and almond-related products on the table for this holiday, if you see there later. One custom is to eat a new fruit on this day, which we say shechiyan on in of itself. Also, you can eat from the 7 species naturally described in the Torah in of itself. I believe we learn in Sefer Devarim. They symbolize abundancy in the land of Israel. The Shivat HaMinim, the 7 species, naturally we know it's wheat, barley, grapes, grapevines, you could say figs, pomegranates, olives, and dates. Also in inverted commas, honey. There's a tradition also of planting a new tree on the ranch every year. Many people opt to have a tree planted in Israel because some people will donate it, let's just say, in a loving family member on themselves. I believe there are supposed to be 30 types of fruits. These are the ideal fruits. Some will contain no pits, some will contain pits inside of them, and some contains like peels and shells. Let's look at it. So the fruits or the foods that contain no pits will include grapes, figs, apples, etrog, citron naturally, a lemon, pears, quince, raspberries, blueberries, and carob. How about containing pits? Naturally, we know there's olives, dates known as tamar, also tamarim, cherries, jujubes, peaches, plums, apricots, morels, medlars, and azarolas. And what contains peel or shell includes a pomegranate, naturally, which we'll also have on the Leil HaSeder of Rosh Hashanah, walnuts, almonds, chestnuts, hazelnuts, coconuts, like many people buy dried coconuts and eat it, capers, pine nuts, pistachio nuts, and pecans, respectively. Those are, let's just say, in of itself. And what an honor it is, like to, let's just say, to enjoy Tu B'Shvat and celebrate this day in of itself, which many people would have. And let's look at some more. I think there was one time great rabbi from a contemporary Algerian Israeli rabbi of the name Rav Uriah Shirki, who was a student of the great, I think, and a student of a great Algerian Israeli rabbi, Kabbalist Rabbi Yehud Ashkenazi, known as a Minto. He says that the ultimate import of eating is not limited to physical consumption. On a deeper level, eating both enacts and symbolizes absorption or internalization of the outside world. How important we've got to have kavanah in it over here. I'm reading just an article on the American Sephardic Foundation. In order to make his point, this great rabbi, Rabbi Shirki, ingeniously read the Sefer Bereshit against the grain of its conventional meaning and teaches, for example, within regards to the topic of tree of knowledge, of eating there or not, because he talks about, let's just say, Adam Harishon in of itself. Many things of his teachings I would recommend everyone to look at in regards to Sefer Bereshit. But let's look at some other customs. Tu B'Shvat happens to be one of my favorite Jewish festivals in of itself. Like, it's just joyous. It's always a pleasure, and it's enjoyable. It's embracing, and nothing beats it in of itself. And I would recommend everyone to let's say, just enjoy, memorize this day, and celebrate this day. Naturally, we say there's different blessings. Just first of all, to go to blessings, if anyone here is not aware of it. The bracha of ha'etz, we say borei ha'etz, that's what will be done on a fruit. In particular, one should include among the fruits of this day and say the blessing in a special order within regards to the pasuk in, I think, Parshat Ekev in of itself. We say Shechianu blessing also on a new fruit. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam shechianu v'kiyimanu v'giyanu lazman hazeh. Naturally, we know that. Where in English we say this blessing is, blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has granted us life, sustained us life, and enabled us to reach this occasion in of itself. They say another interesting thing. On this specific day, Tachanun is omitted from the Shachrit and Mincha, morning and afternoon prayers, as well as Mincha prayer on the afternoon beforehand. So naturally, I'm recording this before Tu B'Shvat actually starts, which is going to be naturally tonight. So in Mincha today, we will not say it. I mean, the Tachanun prayer in of itself. It's actually interesting. Another question was posed. We know that the first day of Shvat is the new year for the tree. Well, obviously, according to the Soul of Shammai, and Beit Hillel says it's a 15th of Shvat, like true that we know in Rosh Hashanah, Daf the Bet, the second page over here. Why are they disputing? So some people will ask in regards to the Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel, with regards to the date of the new year. So the Mishnah on Rosh Hashanah we learned in 16a states that on the festival of Sukkot, naturally the 15th of Tishrei, the world is judged in regard for water. And this does not contradict the opinion in the Gemara that's on the Rosh Hashanah, on the New Year, the first of Tishrei, the entire world is judged, because the judgment on Rosh Hashanah is general judgment that only creates a potential for the water to be given. Obviously, there's a detailed practical determination concerning the water will take place on Sukkot in of itself. So that's interesting. According to the Talmud Yerushalmi, Jerusalem Talmud, on Rosh Hashanah in Namon, the significance of the New Year for trees is that until then, all trees live on water of the previous year. After this cutoff date of the new year of the trees, let's just say the tree derives their life source from the water of the new year now. Thus, the effect of the new water occurs 4 months after the period of judgment. So it's a very robust dispute between the house of Shammai and the house of Hillel in of itself. Beit Shammai is of the opinion that the potential is of primary significance. Consequently, according to Beit Shammai, since in potential the judgment of water took place on the 1st of Tishrei, 4 months later we celebrate the new year for trees, when the potential begins for them, let's say, to derive nature from the waters which were included in the judgment of the entire world, obviously 4 months ago. However, according to Beit Hillel, priority is given to that which is actual. And thus, the actual decision on water takes place on the 15th of Tishrei. Therefore, 4 months later, on the 15th of Shvat, the trees start living from the new waters in of itself. And there's more customs within regards to Bishvat. I would recommend everyone to be very, very much well observed within regards to it, because it's really, let's just say, an incredible day in of itself. Let's just explore a few more things. We've already spoken about what Tu B'Shvat is on this specific day. We know about the significance of the agricultural laws we looked at within regards to the consequences of when the time period of Tu B'Shvat actually says. We've looked at the blessings also on this specific day. And we know that it's obviously a new day where we celebrate it and the date that it is celebrated in of itself. And within regards to new fruit and the Seder night, I'm going to hopefully be maybe recording some tidbits of my Seder night, which I'm going to have tonight, which hopefully we're going to have and enjoy. And it's a joyous time for the family in of itself. There's, I think some Hasidim, including many Rebbes, especially on Tu B'Shvat, will wear distinctive Shabbat clothes in of itself on Tu B'Shvat in honor of the day. This will be, I think actually the Minhag Yisrael Torah will actually bring it down in chapter 131. It's said that in the name of Rabbi Chaim Vital that one should endeavor to eat 30 types of fruit on Tu B'Shvat. So that source which I gave you about the 10, how the 10s should be divided up within regards to this, should be using the teachings of Rabbi Chaim Vital. There's other great Kabbalists will teach that only 15 different fruits are necessary. Because Tu B'Shvat naturally is especially the new year for trees. There's no particular significance in eating fruits that grow from the ground. So that's another teaching which There's some sources that also indicate that the custom of eating fruits on Tu B'Shvat applies specifically to the night of Tu B'Shvat. Many would say that the 24-hour encompassment time period is equally significant within regards to this. We spoke about the appropriation of eating an etrog on Tu B'Shvat, obviously because we use it and we pray that we'll get a good etrog on Sukkot in of itself. We mentioned about that. And one should take this opportunity, let's just say, of Tu B'Shvat to reflect and thank God for the fruits that He has created for our enjoyment. We should really enjoy this thing. The Aruch HaShulchan brings it down in chapter 224 over there, because how great, significant this time period is. And the holiness to be found within the fruit all over the world emanates obviously from the fruit of Eretz Yisrael, of the land of Israel. Furthermore, one who eats fruits of Israel imbues his soul with holiness. This is what is actually brought down from the Bach, I believe, in Or Chaim, in chapter 208, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Also, furthermore, it's the custom. Obviously, we know that there's also a custom of many, many rabbis, including the Hasidic community, to bless each other with, may you merit good fruits, referring to our children, having more children. Many people might mistakenly attribute to B'Shvat the quality of being the day of judgment for the trees. However, trees are judged on Shavuot and not on Tu B'Shvat. Interesting. Now, so many people might think that. I think this is actually related in Masechet Rosh Hashanah also, in page 16 or Tet Zayin in Amud Aleph over there respectively. There's also a custom to begin a daily study of Tractate Megillah on Tu B'Shvat, which would allow one to make a siyum on Purim. This is another extra bit, so I recommend everyone that wants to start learning something to learn Masechet Megillah. It's the Minhag Yisrael Torah in the Or Chaim actually brings that out. One may combine the Purim feast and the Siyum celebration. Let's just say if they do this, and there's no concern of the prohibition of Ein Osim Mitzvot, Chavilot, not bundling mitzvot together if one wants to do this template. We stated about Tachanun also, there was a Talmudic custom also to plant a cedar tree upon the birth of a boy and a cypress tree upon the birth of a girl. The wood from these trees was used to craft a chuppah for their weddings. That's interestingly brought down in Masechet Gittin on page 57, Amud Aleph. That's naturally Nun Zayin, Amud Aleph. This related to this teaching is that if you have a sapling in your hand and are told that Moshiach has arrived, first plant the sapling and then go and greet it. One should not fast on Tu B'Shvat also under any circumstances. This is actually related from the Hagahot, Moniot Shofar, I think chapter 1, number 1, over that Or Chaim, chapter 572, number 3, and the Chevedat also bring this down in chapter 1, number 81. So I think these are good tidbits to come into Tu B'Shvat. I'm ready tonight. Just wanted to species some fresh figs for tonight, friends. Over here, we're a community, friends. Over here, everyone, please, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, subscribe to the channel, share the videos if you feel other people will be interested. I'm wishing you all a Tu B'Shvat Sameach here from the city of Bet Shemesh in Israel. Wish you all a great day.